So NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang just said something in a keynote that honestly made me do a double take. He announced that NVIDIA, the GPU company, has gone and built an entire enterprise security stack for this viral and, frankly, pretty dangerous AI agent called OpenClaw.
And he didn't just mention it in passing. No. He stood up there and called it a world-changing event. He put OpenClaw in the same sentence as Linux and HTML and called it the new computer. I mean, think about that. That is a massive claim for an open-source project that's just a few months old.
So the big question is, what on earth is a GPU company doing here? Why are they getting involved? It feels totally out of left field. But as you're about to see, this is actually part of a brilliant strategy they've been running for decades.
All right, so to really get what NVIDIA is up to, we first have to understand OpenClaw itself. This is a project that absolutely exploded in popularity, but at the same time, it was raising some serious red flags.
For a couple of years now, we've all been promised these AI agents that can actually do things for you. Well, OpenClaw was the first one that really felt like it delivered. It runs on your own machine, you can hook it up to any AI model you want, and the key thing is, it doesn't just talk, it takes action.
And this is exactly why it went viral. It feels like you have this hyper-competent assistant that can go research stuff on the web, organize your files, run really complex commands. It can even write and execute its own code to solve problems. It basically turns the whole experience into just texting a friend who can do anything.
But here's the catch. All of that power, it comes with a massive risk. Look, for a developer messing around at home, it's one thing. But for a bank, a hospital, any company with your private data, absolutely not. It was a complete non-starter. The security holes were, well, they were gaping. The first huge problem was its local server gateway. It just didn't check who was trying to connect. That means any random website you visited could just quietly link up to your OpenClaw agent and get full access to your machine. A gigantic vulnerability. Then there were the plugins. These little add-ons to give OpenClaw more power. Well, nobody was checking them. A security team at Cisco ran a test and found plugins that were actively stealing user data. Get this, about 20% of the entire marketplace was flagged as malicious, 1 in 5.
And finally, we get to the really scary one, prompt injection. An attacker can hide secret instructions on a web page. So when your agent goes to that page to, say, summarize an article for you, it reads those hidden commands and suddenly it's working for the attacker, not you. And you'd never even know. So, yeah, basically every corporate security team on the planet looked at OpenAI and said, no way, not a chance.
And this is where it all gets so interesting. This is where NVIDIA steps in. To understand why, you have to realize this isn't a new move for them. This is a classic play they've been running for over 20 years. Just look back to the 2000s. Programming a GPU was an absolute nightmare. So what did NVIDIA do? They created CUDA, a software layer that made it easy. The result? Every developer started building on NVIDIA's hardware. They did the exact same thing for AI, with platforms for TensorFlow and PyTorch. And now, they're doing it again, for AI agents, with NemoClaw.
The playbook is so simple, but so powerful. Step 1 is enable. You take a complex or unsafe technology, and you build a layer that makes it easy and safe for everyone to use. That drives massive adoption. Step 2 is sell. All those new applications create a huge demand for computing power, and who's right there to sell you the GPUs? You guessed it. But you might be asking, why does it have to be NVIDIA? Why couldn't Google or OpenAI do this? Well, it's all about conflicts of interest. OpenClaw works with any AI model. If OpenClaw built a security layer, they'd just be helping people use competitor models like Claude or Llama. NVIDIA doesn't have a big AI model business to protect. They are the Switzerland of AI. They don't care who wins, as long as it all runs on their chips.
So now that we know why NVIDIA is doing this, let's take a look at what they actually built. How does this thing, NemoClaw, actually solve those dangerous security problems we were just talking about? And here's the thing. The technology under the hood isn't some revolutionary new invention. NVIDIA's real genius here is in the packaging. They're basically just taking existing battle-tested Linux security controls and packaging them up specifically for AI agents.
Here's how it works. You can think about it in 3 simple layers. You have the powerful but kinda wild OpenClaw agent. NVIDIA's solution installs a security runtime called OpenShell that basically wraps around OpenClaw like a protective bubble. Then, you have a policy engine that enforces rules on that bubble, right at the operating system level. This isn't just politely asking the agent not to do something. It makes it physically impossible for the agent to break the rules.
So if we look at the whole stack, the policy engine is where you define the rules of the game, what files it can touch, what networks it can access. The OpenShell runtime is like the bouncer at the door, strictly enforcing those rules. And there's this other really clever part, the privacy router. It inspects data and decides, okay, this is sensitive stuff. We'll process it with a local AI model. This other stuff isn't sensitive, so we can send it to a more powerful model in the cloud. The agent doesn't get a choice. The policy decides.
Okay, so they've built this incredibly robust, open-source security tool. It's fantastic. But let's be real, NVIDIA is a business. What is the ultimate commercial goal driving all of this?
You have to realize, when Jensen was on that stage, he wasn't talking to the folks at Google or Meta. They'll just build all this security stuff themselves. No, he was talking to the thousands of other companies out there, the banks, the law firms, the retailers, who are dying to use AI agents but have no idea how to do it safely.
Sure, another company could try to build their own sandbox, but could they get it to plug directly into CrowdStrike's threat detection or Microsoft's security suite right out of the box? I doubt it. NVIDIA announced pre-built integrations with all the major players. That integration layer is the real competitive advantage, and it's incredibly difficult for anyone else to replicate.
And here's where the playbook comes full circle. NemoClaw, the software, is totally free and open source. But what do you know? It just so happens to pair perfectly with their new DGX Spark desktop, a $4,000 machine that's basically screaming, your agents need a home, buy this. They're giving you the razor for free to sell you the blades.
So, is this the future? Is NemoClaw actually going to become the default security layer for all enterprise AI agents, just like Jensen Huang is betting it will?
Well, you've got this classic tale of two stories. On one hand, you've got Jensen's bold vision on stage comparing it to Linux. But on the other hand, NVIDIA's own documentation calls NemoClaw an early-stage alpha with rough edges. So while the vision is absolutely huge, the reality is we're still at day one.
So in the end, it really makes you wonder, is this move really about the AI agent itself? Or is it all about making agents so useful and so safe that every single company in the world has no choice but to buy the powerful computer for that agent to live on? That's the billion-dollar question right there. Thanks for joining me.